It is now 1800 hours. It is now 1800 hours. I'm calling this regular council meeting 2026-05 to order. Thank you. The invocation will be given by Councilman Kenny Johnson. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. All rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for waking us up, Father. As we're all here, Father, we ask for your hedge of protection to be over our families and our loved ones. Father, we ask for wisdom and discernment and prudence and guidance as we navigate this evening and making decisions that are holy and gratify your name, Father. So order our steps and lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from the evil one, deliver us from pride, from ego, from any disruption or distractions that will try to hinder the work of your will. Father, we declare and decree all of these things in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Turn and face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hoorah! Ms. Leffler, roll call.
Mayor Medina,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Jaffe,
present.
Councilman Johnson,
Present.
Councilman Hammer,
Present.
Councilman Langevin,
Present.
Mr. Morton,
Present.
Ms. Smith.
Present.
Deputy Mayor?
We have 2 terms expiring on the Palm Bay Police and Firefighters Retirement Pension Plan Board of Trustees. These represent city resident positions. We have 1 vacancy on the Community Development Advisory Board representing one of the following fields relating to affordable housing, for-profit provider, residential home building, and actively engaged in home building positions. Anyone wishing to serve on these boards can apply online at palmbayfl.gov or contact the city clerk's office at 952-3414.
Thank you. We're now on agenda revisions. Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. I would like to remove item 3 from the consent agenda. That was inadvertently placed under consent. It should be under new business as item number 4. Colloquially, we are calling it the Bill Batten provision, and I did ask Mr. Batten if he's okay if I said that. He laughed and said yes. So if we could please reorient that, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Council, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second. I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Madam Smith, any revisions?
No, sir.
Council members, any revisions? Seeing none, we're now going straight to public comments. Deputy Mayor.
Doug Hook.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Doug Hook, Palm Bay Sustainability Advisory Board. I just wanted to give you an update on 2 quick projects that was previously discussed by the council regarding Susan B. Connolly. One of the first ones that we were talking about was the Remembrance Gardens somewhere on Palm Bay City Hall grounds. If it would please the council, we would like to, as a Sustainability Advisory Board, make a presentation to the council at a future council meeting, ideally the next council meeting if we are able to kind of give you a more in-depth update on what we've got planned, what we stand on it, how far along we're getting with it. We already have a PowerPoint presentation presented. We just need council's approval to be added to the agenda. So we would like to make sure that we can move forward on that. One of the reasons why we would like to be able to take some action on it as quickly as possible is because it was announced at our most recent council meeting that we are actually going to be having one of our longstanding our board members step down. She is going to be moving out of the area to go take care of family. She was heavily involved in the planning alongside of Susan. So we want to make sure that if we are able to move forward with this project as quickly as we can. That way she is able to continue to be involved with it before she moves out of Palm Bay. The second thing that we wanted to quickly update you on is the Susan Connolly Award. That was something that was brought up by council as something the Palm Bay Sustainability Advisory Board might be interested and capable of building around. We were able to talk about it at our last meeting in January. There were some good ideas thrown about, some good discussion going on. One of the things I wanted to make sure that I did was have a partnership with the city council and solicit some ideas on criteria that might happen, how the process might work, get some feedback from you guys as to what you would like to do, and kind of work with you as the sustainability board to develop this program. We obviously talked about it in the meeting, so that's available to stream on the city's website if anybody has the time and ability to review it. I don't want to take up too much of your time and just repeat myself on there when it's available on the public record. We do want to try to further that idea again in the February meeting. The reason why, again, on that time frame is because Susan Connolly's birthday was in July. So we would like to try to present that award in July, and as such, we need to build that framework, build that process in place, find the criteria, and get all that moving so that process can be finalized and completed by the July Sustainability Advisory Board meeting, where we would then be able to present the award. Thank you for your time. If you would like to provide any feedback or comments, of course, feel free to reach out to me, and I will make sure that it gets passed along to the board. Thank you.
So this board member that's relocating, what's the timeline on that?
She is looking at, she said that she will be able to continue to participate in the Sustainability Advisory Board through March, and would probably not be able to make the April meeting.
Understood. So council, what's your pleasure?
I'm going on the next.
You good?
I agree.
Councilman Hammond?
Next.
Yes?
For
Okay.
the presentation?
For the
Yeah, and
presentation.
just, you know, it's 10
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're good there.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Next speaker?
Bill Batten.
Bill, if you heard the city manager, they may be naming an award after you too.
I hope it's not an award, but I highly appreciate the consent agenda items being moved in for discussion. I greatly appreciate that. Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. This is a hard topic for me because I don't necessarily think that it's something for these chambers, but it's my ability to address my government outside of the city of Palm Bay, where hopefully somebody is going to hear it. When I have politicians that take an oath and swear to defend the Constitution of the United States, and then repeatedly they shut down the government because they don't agree with something and hinder and hurt taxpayers, there's something wrong with that in my opinion. If you don't want to be in the position where you take an oath to do something and you don't want to follow that oath, then step down and get out. Leave it to the people that want to be there, that are going to follow the oath that they take. After that statement, I've seen it happen repeatedly, and it's happening again. That's only for a couple of more weeks, and we might be facing the same thing again, right? I just find there's something wrong with that when it's all centered around a budget. I can relate that back to the city of Palm Bay because we're constantly working now. We're starting early to make a budget and a plan of attack happen. To me, I call that leadership by example. Maybe you could pass that a little bit further up the chain and have it hit Washington somehow. That's my compliment to you guys. The other question I had with this one was, I saw that there was being organized protests, and I was trying to find out if some of them were happening in the city of Palm Bay. I made some phone calls into the city, but I never got a response back to find if there were any, because I wanted to go the opposite way. I wanted to stand in the protesters' faces and say, I'm trying to support my local law enforcement, and I think what they were doing was wrong, but I never got a call back. So I guess it may be in their advantage or to my advantage that I never had to face that. But I'm looking at students now considering walkouts, school walkouts. Come on, people, keep it real. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker?
Robert Stice.
Good evening. Robert Stice, 1796 Winbrook Drive, Southeast. This is something I took out of the Florida Day. I get the Sunday paper because my wife, she likes proposals, okay? So this is the county, and outside the county, this is what the folks believe. The group predicts Florida's population will increase 2.5 million newcomers between now and 2034. most of the people are saying what they thought about Florida is growth, and the response was overwhelmingly in favor of stopping the growth. Yes, 93.3% to slow Florida's growth. No, 6.67%. This is what they had to say. Simply put, you cannot adequately support the population we already have. Actively recruiting more people to move here, as some of our politicians continue to do, is just irresponsible. It's ludicrous. Consider this, Brevard County still has approximately 80,000 septic tanks in use. Until every incorporated city is fully sewered, approving more large-scale growth is reckless. Traffic is another daily reminder of how stretched we already are. I live near Palm Bay Road, one person writes, and the accidents are constant. Healthcare tells the same story. Emergency rooms are overcrowded, especially during the wintertime. For now and the foreseeable future, the answer should be clear. No more growth. I'm not going to go, well, I have one more item. There is way too much traffic and strain on our healthcare system, et cetera. Completely out of control. People are calling for a moratorium. This is what the folks say, okay? What I'd like to know is a couple things. One is, what are we going to do about it? I'm not calling for a moratorium, but I'm hoping you guys and gals put your heads together. The other thing I want to mention, Mr. Chandler Langevin over there, he had mentioned at the end of one meeting that we shouldn't be putting a storage unit in the middle of a community. I saw a lot of head nodding on that. What did we do with that? Is that what we're going to live by going forward, or was that just an idle discussion, what have you? I mean, I got a rooster across the street from me, two doors down, that I'd like to put in the frying pan. That seemed to be more important, than what we're doing now. What I'd like to hear from the city, I don't know if it's once a quarter or twice a month, where are we at on infrastructure? We talk about it. It's the number one thing that we need to do. But I'm not hearing, I'm hearing every so often when you bring it up, but I'm not getting any information on that. And perhaps our city manager can bring that up in coffee and donuts with the city. But you need to get to folks. I represent one of 14 other HOA in Bayside Lakes, and we can get the word out to about 2,200 people. So please consider this. Thank you very much.
Next speaker.
Ken Delgado.
Ken Delgado, 154 Angelo Road, Southeast, celebrating the shortest meeting I have ever seen in the 50 years that I have lived here in the city of Palm Bay. Wow. I just have a thought that I'd like to give you in reference to you all as our leaders, and to which we pray for and we thank God for, all of you, because of things that have happened in times past. As a pastor of the house, I just wanted to share some scriptural thoughts about what you all are confronted with. Number one, Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. Knowing their thoughts, Jesus said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste, and no city or house divided against it will stand. And so to encourage you as much as you can to find community, to find agreement so that we can stand as a city. Number two, Ephesians 6:12. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against powers, against world forces of the darkness, against spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places. Maybe sometimes the disagreements or the irritations that we have isn't, quote unquote, one against the other, but actually a spiritual fight of entities that are trying to separate and to divide, because they know if they can divide, they can conquer. Maybe we can think about that possibility. James 1:20, a man's anger does not bring about the righteousness of God, or doesn't bring out God possibilities. And so for us to have dominion over our anger is a spiritual powerhouse to bring peace when there could be division. Proverbs 15:1, a gentle answer turns away wrath. A harsh answer stirs up anger. And so I just suggest that the best way you can make a regular meeting into a supernatural meeting is to make sure that before you come here, maybe spend half an hour praying for a supernatural presence of God as you try to decide what to do. Last and not least, Romans 6:17, I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own belly. There are people that come here and they speak. And they are here to try to cause offense and to cause divisions among you. But if you understand the spiritual reality of who you are and the authority that you have, don't take that to heart. Come against it in the power of the name of Jesus. Thank you.
Pastor, that was Psalms 51, correct?
No, sir. So as it stands, Romans. Did I say Psalm?
Well, you said Proverbs 51, but I believe you meant to say Psalms 51.
Proverbs 15.
Oh, as you were, 15:1. Thank you.
I received that.
Butcher end.
For those taking notes, Proverbs 15:1.
Everybody got it? 15-1? Okay. Butcher ran 219 Trenton Avenue. I apologize for going back in history, but I had a family emergency. I couldn't attend the last council meeting. But the one that I did attend, toward the end of the meeting itself, there was quite the conversation going on the council. And it began to kind of turn into a yelling match. And there was a point of order called. And the comment to the person who called the point of order was, let him speak, instead of ruling on the point of order. I come here every time and I look over here and I see all these rules that we as citizens have to follow. And if we don't follow them, you go right down to the very last one, says we could be thrown out of the chamber. My question to the council is, do you members still have to follow these same orders, or are you just able to free will up there? And the other thing, I was out in a compound about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was a city crew, way back in the compound, trimming the grass along the roadways. No houses, no power lines, no nothing. There's about 4 guys out there trimming grass in the middle of nowhere. But yet, I come to City Hall, and we have contractors cutting the grass up here. I don't understand why those folks that cut the grass in the compound can't come to the city and cut the grass for us. And that's all that I have. Thank you all.
That concludes the cards, Mayor.
Okay, well, thank you. So, first of all, let me just share a little bit about decorum. There was grace that was applied to one of the council members here, and I did apply that type of grace. However, I'm going to ask each and every council member moving forward that we are subject to a higher level of decorum. And so if we could just contain our speech and be kind as we were just instructed, to unify, get into a location where we find agreement, I think that would benefit not only each and every one of us, but the city in general. So I'll take full responsibility for that, Mr. Arant. But I did apply grace, and that grace was not reciprocated. But now I am asking for each and every council member, let's season our speech with grace. So thank you for that. And thank you, Butch, for bringing that to light. We're now on the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. We're now on public hearings, item number 1. Madam Smith.
Ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by appropriating and allocating funds as identified in Exhibit A consisting of 6 pages and incorporated in its entirety herein. Recognizing that such appropriations must be made pursuant to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Palm Bay, Chapter 35, Finance, adopting, ratifying, confirming, and validating the allocations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. This is the final reading. We do have staff here. If there are any questions, we have nothing new to add.
Council, any questions? I don't see anything. I'm going to turn to the audience. Anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing and asking for a motion.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Hammer, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. We're now on public hearing number 2. Madam Smith.
Ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the City of Palm Bay, Brevard County, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances, Title 5, Legislative, Chapter 52, Boards, by creating a new subchapter to be known as the Citizens Accountability Task Force, providing for the repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for inclusion in the City of Palm Bay Code of Ordinances, providing for a severability clause, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to open up the public hearing, and I'm going to defer to Mrs. Smith. But at this time, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for supporting this item unanimously at our last meeting. Madam Smith?
This, as you stated, is the second reading. We have made the additional change that council had requested as far as being able for the board to be able to provide advice to, at the city manager's request on ordinances. Certainly happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, council? Okay, so I'm going to turn to the audience. Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing and asking for a motion. I'll be seconding it.
So moved.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Councilman Hammer, seconded by Mayor Medina. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much. So we're now on number 1 of unfinished and old business. Deputy Mayor?
The appointment of one member to the Community Development Advisory Board. I'd like to make a motion to appoint S. Fisher to this position.
Second.
Okay, do we have comment cards on this?
No, Mayor.
Okay. I got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Johnson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Passes 4-1. We're now on item number 1, new business. Mr. Morton.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor, City Councils. We have Ms. Jessica Hinchman come up tonight, as you recall from our early budget workshop, and thank you again for participating early on to kind of help and guide us on philosophy. We're here tonight to consider the establishment of budgetary goals and understanding your priorities, very high-level priorities. Again, just a series of ongoing community conversations to invite the community as we prepare for the fiscal year 2027 planning process and ultimately the budget. Thank you, Jessica.
Good evening. So before you tonight, you guys have a handout with some potential budget goals. From our last discussion, we wanted to kind of kick off tonight with going over some general goals and topics that you guys have brought up before. So we have a few suggestions, and then we can kick it back to you all for discussion on any other topics or goals that you guys have come up with between the workshop and now. So our first big one is always infrastructure, maintenance, and improvement. The budget goal that our office has come up with is maintain, repair, and improve roads, infrastructures, and utility services to ensure safety, reliability, and long-term cost savings. This can help with the police headquarters, fire stations. Chief Stover brought up fire hydrants at our last workshop. It's an excellent idea because as we increase our capacity for fire hydrants, it reduces our reliance on additional water tenders or replacing the water tenders we currently have. So it's a long-term savings by working forward on the fire hydrants. Our next one that we have is response to services. Our goal that we've suggested is to improve the speed, coordination, and quality of city responses to service requests by using resources efficiently and delivering constant, reliable service across the city. This is where your response times come in. This is where your potholes, the response to getting those corrected, council meeting follow-ups, all of these types of measures would fall under this budget goal. So it impacts a bunch of different departments that would be able to meet this goal. The next one we have is customer-friendly government and stronger engagement. The goal would be to provide a customer-friendly city government by improving access, responsiveness, transparency, and meaningful community engagement. A big thing you see, some of these departments do citizen surveys. I know the police department has done them in the past. I know the city manager's office is currently getting feedback on the city website. How can we enhance our services? By opening that engagement channel. Another one we have is economic development and stronger tax base. Our goal would be support business growth, workforce opportunity, and reinvestment in key areas while ensuring development strengthens neighborhoods and remains fiscally sustainable. I know we've talked a little bit about the workforce grant that's coming, but we want to have economic growth that we can sustain moving forward. The last one that we're proposing is recruitment and retention of professional employee base. The budget goal would be to attract, develop, and retain a talented, diverse, and motivated workforce to deliver high-quality public services. We're talking about hiring freeze at the moment, attrition of positions as they go vacant. We really need to retain the talent that we have. So this budget goal would help departments focus on the training that they need. Some positions have certifications. These would all fall under this budget goal. So those are the 5 that we've come up to present to start tonight's discussion, but we also know that you guys might have worked on some ideas between the workshop and now. So we'll open it up to feedback.
Okay, and I've got Councilman Hammer that was the first to weigh in.
Yes, a lot of the things that you're discussing are going to be key aspects of us providing a good level of service. And I think getting a good LOS for our city is one of our best statistics we can have moving forward to apply to approvals on anything we do. I think an updated level of service, and I think especially with hydrants, with everything, I think that's something that's extremely important and probably one of the most important things we can have in our toolbox as a council moving forward. So that is one thing I was really adamant about in that. And I think a lot of the things you're saying are going to be tools for us to bring that up to date.
Yeah, and these budget goals are meant to be broad so that departments have a pathway for it. This is their guidance for now looking at their budgets. Does my budget meet these goals? Where am I deficient? Where do I need extra resources? And when we come back in May, you will then see all of the budget requests that departments have brought forth and how those correspond to those goals. And that's when we'll really get into the nitty-gritty details of specific priorities. When we talk about widening roads, what roads? When we talk about training, what training? May is when we'll get into that level. This is just the high-level budget goal to set us on success.
Thank you. And I'll go to Councilman Langevin. Would you like to weigh in at this time, Councilman Langevin?
Just on the budget in general, on what our,
What
what
she
we're
was
wanting to
just
see?
referring to,
No, I mean,
high level.
yeah, the high level stuff. What's important to me is we're doing the right things already. We're conducting the Doge. We're becoming more efficient. We're becoming leaner. But then, like she said, we also have to provide the service. So obviously, and we've talked about this throughout the past year. So it's a big ask, but I think Mr. Morton is up to the task, and I like where we're going with that. So the Doge is critical, but we also have to provide those key services.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson?
Nothing else to add, Mayor. I know we all received the email for the Florida Doge for the other counties and municipalities that been reported to or have done their reporting, and it's very interesting to see some similarities in some areas, but I already know our staff and our management team is already on it. They've already done a great job in the time he's been here, so we just got to keep chipping away. So I think we're on the right track.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to add from the budget workshop. I can understand the discussions, that are being had publicly about the 20% reduction can create a lot of fear, especially for the employees in the city. And, the biggest thing I think I just want to reiterate is just trust the process. I think council collectively, I know myself personally, we care about the employees, and, we also have a fiduciary responsibility to our taxpayers. And so, really confident in who we have in staff and Mr. Morton at the helm that, the right decisions are going to be made for the benefit of the city. I had the opportunity to be in Tallahassee this week. I actually met with our CFO, Blaise Ngoli, on Tuesday, and he's eventually going to make his way to Palm Bay, and he gave me some things that I was able to share with Mr. Morton that could prepare us for success for what that process is going to look like. And but yeah, I'm really glad that we're getting this process started. And I don't have anything else to add from the budget workshop.
Well, I thank you. Does that conclude your comments, sir? So, first of all, that was a great high-level view, right? Because you touched on things that are near and dear to my heart. These response times, right? We're getting into the nitty-gritty, and you're going to bring that back. But part of that solution is our families, right? And then our public safety. Right now, the response times are really high, so that we're low on personnel. I think we need to, when it comes to fire safety, we need to continue to put the pedal to the metal, so to speak. We had, about 2 years ago now, one of the largest, I should say, I rephrase that, the largest graduating class of firefighters that are serving us today. And if you were able to witness them in the compound fires with this cold, and then all the heat battling these fires with the winds whipping, you really know how hard they worked. And not only that, there was not one home that was lost with all these homes and these individuals going out. I couldn't even imagine being in the heat, and then all of a sudden it's freezing cold when the fire's out, and they went on to the next fire and the next. So, and our public safety guys are what we should be building this city on, is protecting the citizens. That's the number one high level. So right now we're low on personnel when it comes to police and fire. Our police, as an example, it takes such a long time to train and to outfit them. So those things are going to be costly. But I'm really excited that you're looking at it from that perspective. And then, as Deputy Mayor said, there are families out there. We have outstanding employees. And the last thing that this council would want to do is put any fear in their families, right? Oh, wow, we're cutting 20%. Yes, it's a goal, but I do feel that we're going to trust this process, but it's going to reveal so much more. So as long as we have this public safety and what we have, how can we enhance that? I know we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, gentlemen. We're going to look into things that we may disagree on when it comes to cutting a service, but service is warranted for our citizens as well. So thank you, Jessica. I've got Mr. Morton wanting to weigh in at this point.
Thank you, Mayor. Just if the timing's appropriate, since 2 council members have touched on it, and actually had a really great meeting today with Deputy City Manager Brian Johnson, Deputy City Manager Jason DiLorenzo, our finance team, and HR. And there is anxiety and fear among staff. We're trying to get our heads around doing a better job communicating what is coming. We've missed some opportunities to communicate. I'll own that, and I apologize to our staff for that. We're going to try to roll out a better communication plan that keeps them more informed when they have information and understand. They can't be part of everything, but at least hopefully to do our best to alleviate concerns, fear, and anxiety. Because I echo your comments, we really appreciate the folks that we have and the hard work they do and the things they bring to the table every day. So since we're on the record and staff can hear that, we're definitely going to work to try to do a better job in that communication.
Thank you, sir. I think that's important to everyone on this dais. You know, we're all family at this point, right? Any other questions, council? Any comment cards, Deputy Mayor?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. So I need a motion.
So moved.
I got a motion by Councilman Hammer,
Second.
seconded by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. Any further discussion, gentlemen? We're all good? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. We're now on item number 2, new business. Mr. Morton.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Talking about level of service, talking about data-driven decisions, making sure we can respond to our community. Really grateful tonight to have the discussion around consideration of the utilization of some police impact fees to fund a comprehensive staffing study. Beyond being a staffing study, I'm going to let our presenter talk tonight, but this will help us understand how we deploy, how we schedule, how we staff. Our supervisory span of control will help us get our head around overtime usage and the rule of 60 model, I believe. And so rather than steal a thunder, I know Deputy Chief is here, and he's been supportive of this new data-driven initiative. There he is. Sorry, I didn't see you standing, sir. And we have a presenter here tonight to sort of give you a quick overview, less than 5 minutes, if you would, sir, of what we're
5
undertaking.
minutes?
And, yep.
I have 3 hours
And,
prepared.
and then answer any questions that council have. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Well, if that pastor could preach a sermon in 3 minutes, sir, you got plenty of time.
Mr. Mayor, I've got business cards. May I give everybody a business card?
Well, you can just hand it to me, sir, and I'll make sure they all get one. Yes, sir, I got it.
On that
Thank
card
you.
is my cell phone and my email address, so I can be contacted at any point in time. My name is Stockton Reeves. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Public Safety. What we do is work with local governments around the country, primarily in the area of public safety, police, fire, sheriff, EOC, emergency management, emergency operations. I've been doing this for 37 years. And thankfully, my wife makes me moisturize, so I don't look it. But we're finishing up a project in Laredo, Texas, with 600 sworn police officers and 450 firefighters. We just finished a project in Deerfield Beach to help them break away from the sheriff's office, which was currently providing them police and fire, and gave them a 173-page analysis on the feasibility of starting their own municipal services. So what we have been, and what we typically do for our clients is we do staffing studies, we do space needs studies, we do logistical and management and operational studies, we do cost estimates, we do grants, we kind of do all of those pre-designed things. And I will say, there is a process to addressing public safety. And if you don't do it right, you have the great potential to spend a lot more time, money, than you need to. The natural progression of dealing with something in terms of public safety, primarily in law enforcement, is very expensive because there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of regulatory issues, statutory requirements, and the like. So if you think about a house, you've got to put the foundation down first. Then you've got to design it, then you've got to frame it out, then you've got to build it. Well, fortunately, you all are doing this in the right manner. The staffing study, which answers the question, we don't know what we don't know, how many people are we going to need today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years down the line? Why is that important? Because everybody in a law enforcement facility has a certain spatial requirement of what they need to do their job, whether they're in evidence, they're in criminal investigations, or they're in records. And every square foot in a law enforcement facility has a dollar sign attached to it, okay? The admin area costs this, the evidence area costs up here, the armory costs up here. It's like a jigsaw puzzle where every individual piece has a dollar sign on it. And so what we're going to do for you all is take a look at your call volume, what kind of calls are coming in, what service calls are coming in. We're going to make projections on population using probably 20 to 24 different variables to try to predict ahead of time. You know, how is your city going to grow? Where is it going to grow? And then how is the police department going to grow? And where are they going to grow in people? Because once we get done with this comprehensive document, Deerfield Beaches was 174 pages. Laredo, Texas is going to be over 500 pages, and I got to tighten that down to get it below that. But it's going to be a document that's going to lay out, and from the council's perspective, you know, you don't want to have a PD come to you and say, we need 36 more people tomorrow. We want to have a nice, orderly progression to understand what we need, when we need it, and who we need it, so you can plan accordingly and not have any surprises. Nobody likes surprises. And so that's a little bit about who we are, what we do. If you go on our website, you can see past project examples, you can see references, you can see some of our experience, and I'm happy to expand on that, not for 3 hours, but you know, if you all have any questions, I'm available at any point in time. I'll be working with the chiefs and the command staff. I had a great meeting with them today to kick it off. I didn't know the contract wasn't approved, but we've already given them a fairly substantial list of items and information and data that we're going to need to kick this off. We have a time frame in which to get this project done. It's doable. I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to. Laredo, which is 3 times the size of gave us 120 days. Y'all are being more generous. And I appreciate that because it allows us to do a little bit more of a deeper analysis and to make sure that we've cross-checked everything. This is what we do around the country. Charleston, South Carolina, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Plano, Texas, Deerfield, Pompano Beach, Columbia County, Washington, and everywhere in between. So what I like about coming here is I can be here today and sleep in my own bed tonight. So I appreciate that greatly. I don't want to take too much of your time, so that's a broad overview.
I do have a councilman that has a question at this time.
I'm
So,
happy to answer
Councilman-
any questions y'all have.
Councilman Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor, and this may be towards our city manager, so it could be either, thank you, sir, for coming. Last meeting, we were talking about Building E, and we were talking about the police station and where police expansion will happen. Will the data or the information that gathered from this gentleman, from his firm, be utilized to kind of determine where we want to expand as a police department?
I think that is a city manager question.
Yeah, so two things. I want to kind of confirm the scope and make sure we're still in alignment, because when I read the scope, we're talking stakeholder engagement, we're talking staffing analysis.
Patrol deployment,
Which to
minimal
your,
staffing.
which to your point, Councilman Johnson, is going to definitely inform us on our current and future space needs, hopefully with a projection out into multiple years, so we can right-size a building, do it once, and not be coming back to this conversation. We're going to be talking about patrol deployment and coverage, including the allocations of that. We're going to be talking about our minimum staffing and response times objectives, in other words, establishing that level of service council's been asking for. We're going to look at our investigative workload analysis, our supervision and scheduling, again, as a function of span of control, and are we deployed appropriately? Our work time allocation, our demographics and crime patterns, again, which inform a lot of the above. Our overtime management, which is always a question in every public safety enterprise.
Everywhere.
And then our additional considerations in terms of how can we document, what are some, industry-proven pathways to accomplish some of these objectives. So back to the simple answer, yes, sir, this is the first step. The second step we'll come back to when this is complete and we've digested it, to say, with your permission, council, we take these numbers now and go to a space needs. I don't know if your firm provides that scope, but we go to a space needs analysis and we discuss what this building must look like. And by that must look like, what are the cost, design, site requirements to build a long-term police facility that will be here for, for a generation.
Mr. Morton, may I add to that?
Carry on, sir, go ahead.
Councilman, once the staffing study is done and you know what you need in terms of people, the next phase would be to undertake the space needs study, which will tell you what the spaces are for the chief, all the way down to the janitor's closets, room by room, calculate all that space. Concurrent with that, which of course, Mr. Morton, we do that service, concurrent with that, you'll want to have an idea, and that's a programming document that's going to be available for any architect or engineering team that you hire. They'll be able to look at that program and they'll be able to design the building from that program. The nice thing about it is we also do cost estimates. And the problem today is that costing of everything is going up so high. Everywhere I go in America, there's cranes. Cranes mean construction. And that means the cost of materials are high, the cost of labor is high. So we end up partnering with a national construction firm. It doesn't cost any more for our cost estimate. And we have them do a peer review on every single cost. I can't say but your firm that you hire in the future should be able to tell you everything from rough building costs to technology costs to security costs to design consideration, contingency fees, geotechnical fees, down to how much sod is going to be needed for that building. Our cost estimates typically run 6, 7, 8 pages. They're line itemed, so it's very easy for people to see what it is. And once you get those cost estimates, if you don't start construction within 6 weeks, 6 months, you're going to fall behind. Costs are rolling up right now about 6% a year.
All right, thank you.
And
Does that conclude
Councilman,
your
I don't see
questions?
those costs going down.
Does that conclude your questions? All right, at this time, you want to call up Deputy Chief Spears, sir? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So I don't really have a whole lot more to add, other than obviously for the last several months, we've been talking about building needs, facility needs, our condition of our current headquarter building. And so this really is the kickoff, the start of this process to hopefully end us with a new building. And so I thank Mr. Reeves for being here and explaining that. We're excited. It's a really important time for us as we really dive into this and really make sure that what we're doing today is, efficient and it's effective, and to really tell us where we're going to be at in the several years to come when in terms of staffing and our budget and just overall facility needs. So it's a good thing, and I hope we get able to kick it off and see that end goal.
So DC, I have a question. I know you guys are on top of each other next door. Do you see any relief soon by using the other building now? What are the IT facilities as an example?
Yes, sir, and to Councilman Johnson's point, so yes, obviously that will alleviate a lot of room for us. As a matter of fact, the last couple of days, we've been talking about who will go over there, because I know that facilities is starting to work on completing some minor upgrades to that area. And from what I'm hearing from our staff is that we're actually going to have a couple offices vacant, which is a good thing. So that will definitely leave room for growth.
Outstanding. All right, that was my question. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Speaker cards, gentlemen?
No, Mayor.
Okay, so I'll need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Johnson. I'll second it. Seconded by Mayor Medina. Any further discussion, Councilman?
Yeah, I just had a question, Mayor. Does the motion have to state the amount and the company we're hiring, or are we just authorizing the amount?
I think the motion could say, yeah, if you want to rephrase it, but I think we all know what we're talking about. Clerk?
It will go with what is in the packet, so it's fine.
Thank you. So we're good. Anything else, sir?
No, Mayor.
No other comments? Councilman Johnson? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. We're now on item number 3. Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Mr. Brietti overheard me talking to Mr. Batten that I was going to call it the Batten provision, so he asked that this is called the Brietti disclaimer, so I'm calling this the Brietti disclaimer. I was asked by council, Mr. Brady got up and mentioned that there was a hiccup with the Facebook feed. I was asked by council to go back and do the due diligence, look at the data, look at the metadata. The feed was in fact interrupted. It was not interrupted by the city of Palm Bay, but I'm going to ask Mr. Beach to come up and explain kind of where we're at, where that leaves us in the future, some of the technical challenges that will be invariable. Like, as we'd said, when you're home streaming your favorite cooking show on Netflix and it hiccups, that's beyond their control, what happens in between with the data. So Mr. Beach is going to explain that and also let the community know in transparency. We don't want to stop any streaming, but there are some challenges with Facebook.
Yep. So city council meetings are produced by a third party that we contract with. They control all the cameras, the captioning, everything, put it all together. They encode the meeting, they encode the video, and they send it out to 3 sources. They send it out to the city website, Facebook, and YouTube. Once they send it out, they really can't control anything beyond that. So what happened on the meeting in January 8th, about 35 minutes into the meeting, there's an issue with the feed going to the Facebook. We did have IT staff monitoring it. As soon as they noticed that the feed stopped, they logged in and started it back up. That's why there's 2 videos that are currently posted to the Facebook page. So the first part, which is about 35 minutes long, I think the second one's about an hour and 35 minutes long. The second one started when we restarted that video. With regard to how that happens, it's just kind of that's how the internet works. We have no control over those third parties that we stream to, but we try to stream to them so that there's plenty of sources that the citizens can go to watch these meetings. We did check with our production company to see if it was anything on their end, and they could not find anything on their end that would have caused this. And that's evidenced by the city website and the YouTube feed being uninterrupted.
Yeah, and I did notice, because I went back, the YouTube I didn't hear any complaints of the folks speaking on YouTube. So that was strictly Facebook, not YouTube?
It was strictly Facebook.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, council? Councilman Hammer?
Does the city have the ability to contact Facebook and tell them to stop it?
I wish, but there's really no call center or anything like that. It's a free service. It's not a paid service, so usually with those you get best efforts.
So there's no way for the city to call and say, hey, when someone comes on, we need to block it?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Jaffe?
Yeah, so, the fact that the streaming works well, to date, with no historical issues on the website and YouTube, and the issues are on Facebook. Maybe we just put a disclaimer on the Facebook page that, some good language that says, the meeting could be subject to outside forces causing glitches and.
Glitches.
Sure.
And that we recommend viewing it on the website, but we don't intend on pulling
our
it.
website.
On the city website, but we don't intend on ever pulling it from Facebook.
Okay. Is that amenable? Do you
Oh,
think you could do
absolutely.
that?
We could put language on all of the streams, just to let them know that, hey, streaming can sometimes be subject to technical issues, and if this stream becomes unavailable, you can also watch the meetings on the other sites, and we can put links to those.
Council, we all in agreement on that? Okay, that sounds like a plan. Mr. Morton, if we could publish that, we'd be appreciative. Okay, no speaker cards?
No cards, Mayor.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve adding the disclaimer to Facebook and the other streaming services.
Second.
Got a motion by Deputy Mayor Jaffe, seconded by Councilman Hammer. Any further discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously, 5-0. We're now on item number 4. Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Thank you again for amending the agenda so we could have a conversation. I'm going to ask Gabriel Bowden to come up and discuss, but just from a real high-level perspective, if we set our way back clock to 10 or 11 months ago, we did not expect, obviously, the Claremont sewer disruption that we had. And in that same vein, not expecting that, we absolutely expect a disruption here. This is part of the strategic efforts that we've been undertaking to analyze, identify vulnerabilities, potential weaknesses, and potential failure points in our utility system. And with that, this is deemed by Gabriel in our utilities department as a critical section of infrastructure to repair. And Mr. Bowden, I'm going to let you sort of explain it and take that away.
Sure thing. We have about 588,000 linear feet of force main. About 12,373 of that is AC main, asbestos line cement. And it can be quite, we like to call it squishy, not very stable sometimes in those conditions. The Port Malabar extension that we're looking at is almost 54% of that AC pipe being replaced in one fell swoop. And again, as the Claremont spill on a risk registry would have been very low, this main is very high on the risk registry. So very excited about the opportunity to get this replaced. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions, council? I don't see any, so Deputy Mayor, speaker cards?
Bill Batten.
Bill Batten, 586 Ocean Spray Street, Southwest. I've got a couple of items on this one. The first one was I wasn't sure what AC stood for, so thank you for giving me that acronym breakdown because I thought it was alternating current water flow. All right. Item number 2. I don't know who Lynn was that works in the city manager's office, but I appreciate them sending me an email. It was very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'd like to thank that individual if I ever saw them or knew who they were. All right. Next item is when we were doing the budget, I understand we just got an explanation on why we're looking at this because we see a different potential. We just got through going through budget workshops and planning for the future. But our current last budget, we are looking at $1.25 million for this repair. Yet then I'm looking back what the total cost is going to be $2.8 million recommended. So there was a variance of a $1.6 million difference. And I'm looking at Port Malabar Run. That's one street. Here's where I see the conflict with this entire setup. That's one street, the oldest neighborhood that's had water and sewer available in the city of Palm Bay since conception of city of Palm Bay, yet this is where we're focusing in on. We have 90% more than that one street around the rest of the city that does not have water or does not have sewer access. And why is this important? Because this Port Malabar neighborhood is the exact same neighborhood that when we got grant funding money coming in the millions of dollars, we said, well, we're going to use this for them to convert to from their septic systems to the city water sewer system. That's where we spent those millions of dollars, to aid those that have had it available all along. Yet the other residents who don't have it available don't get it. So it leads us to the next question. We're looking at the repair along Port Malabar. We still have the other major catastrophe that's facing the residents of Palm Bay and part of the city, where we have to meet the new guidelines for the conversion system to the septic systems, where the homeowners have to upgrade all of their current septic systems to meet the new standard. I think it's 2030. And that estimate is running between $20,000 and $30,000 that the residents have to pay. Yet we're helping out the established neighborhood that had it all along. They just didn't want to hook up. And that's where the last several $1 million went. I'm just saying, try to focus in on some of the other city other than just the northeast area. So I understand your budget setup, but if we're looking, I'm getting more fearful about what's going to be happening in 2030 instead of this one maybe failure pipeline, because I'm going to see my price tag. Thank you.
Mr. Bowden, you want to attempt to answer a few of those questions?
Yeah, in terms of the $1.6 million more, we could do less of the main for what we had budgeted, but we really feel it's important to replace this entire section, not just a portion of it. Starting to get into it could send fractures, down part of it, likely not, but could. So that's why we want to replace the entire section at this time.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Mr. Hammer or Councilman Hammer?
You can't spend this funding on new pipe, correct? This is only for pipe that's already in the ground to renew or repair?
That's right, that's coming out of the renewal.
Okay.
And replacing renewal fund that we have.
So we can't spend that on putting new pipe somewhere else?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any speaker cards?
That concludes cards, Mayor.
All right, thank you. So part of that discussion too, thank you, Councilman Hammer, for going down that range, is a lot of the septic to sewer grants were because of protecting the Indian River Lagoon. And that was the cause of that and the purpose of that. So had anything to do with replacing a pipe or, as you so eloquently put it, starting a new pipe somewhere else. So it's not the same thing. All right, so I need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion
Second.
by Councilman Johnson, second by Deputy Mayor Jaffe. Any further discussion, gentlemen? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes 5-0. We're now on council reports. I'll start with Councilman Langevin.
Nothing. Have a great night.
Councilman Hammer.
I'm sorry, I got a few things. I think Babcock Street was a nightmare this weekend. And I want to make it be known that Babcock is an emergency. I would like to declare emergency. I want something to be noticed that if something happens on I-95 and they put people on Babcock and San Filippo, emergency services will not make it to people and they will be in jeopardy. I'm not saying I want, but I would like something to be in writing saying that this is a liability to us. Babcock is a liability for emergency services should that ever happen again. There was people waiting 2 hours to get down that road because they couldn't get through.
Or going to US 1.
Or anywhere. It was gridlocked, and if you had to get somewhere in Palm Bay, even if an ambulance or a fire truck had to get through there, I mean, Babcock does have a very wide right-of-way, but it's not safe.
So are you proposing we send a letter to the district secretary, or?
I would
what
say
are your
that
thoughts?
as well as FDOT.
Well, that would be the
Yeah.
Secretary of
Yes.
FDOT.
And just
so, yeah.
show what happened this weekend.
Yeah,
That's-
and we'll have I'm glad you're bringing that up because we'll have an opportunity this coming Thursday or Wednesday next week to bring that up. So let's make sure we hit it together.
I know you and me were very vocal about Babcock this last week while we were in Tallahassee, and we didn't speak to deaf ears either. We got a very good response on getting help with Babcock, and if we can get some help on, at least a good jump on it to get things rolling, I think this is a great opportunity to show where we are on that.
And to those that are listening and trying to understand, Babcock Street is a multi-jurisdictional corridor. And if you ask me, I truly believe, and I've said this in the MPO meetings, is that it should be a state road. They should be taking complete responsibility over that. There's so many different jurisdictions. But we'll keep hammering away. Council, I'm good with sending FDOT or whoever else higher within our Florida Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Sending a letter showing them the state of emergency that we're in.
Even if we can invite the other jurisdictions to participate.
Yeah.
Signing it as well.
Signing up, yep. And I think, so that's a great idea. I think what we do is bring that up with, we're talking about Grand Bulgaria, we're talking about Melbourne, Malabar.
Brevard County.
Right, Brevard County in its entirety. Yeah, so, Mr. Morton, so what we're looking at is sending a letter to FDOT, but in also encouraging the local municipalities that have jurisdiction right along that Babcock corridor, that have jurisdiction within those cities or townships, encouraging them to join us in this pursuit. Because it is a state of emergency, as he said. So yeah, I'm on board with that, Councilman Hammer, and I think you got council as a whole. I saw Councilman Langevin nodding his head as well. So.
Thank you very much.
That's unanimous. Does that conclude?
No, I got a few things. I want to thank Sustainability for their report. It's amazing to see some ideas come across the podium, and I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank Congressman Herodopoulos. I did see a few of our items were going to be passed into law, so we're going to get some Turkey Creek funding, and we're going to get some road funding. So that's pretty awesome to see. Our time in Tallahassee and DC seemed to pan out, and that's awesome to see the work being put in, the promises made, and the promises kept. I wanted to show my respect for Toby Keith today. It's 2 years ago he passed away. He was an American, died of cancer. The founder of the Toby Keith Foundation. He was a proud American, spent time with the troops during Thanksgiving, spent time during Christmas, and was a leader for an example of what an American should be. I wanted to just give my respect for 2 years since he passed away. And I also wanted to appoint Tony Catalano to the P&Z board.
Tony Catalano. Does that conclude your report, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to travel to Tallahassee this past week and had a pretty cool meeting with the CFO of Space Florida. And they've indicated a strong desire to partner with Palm Bay and are looking for an opportunity to come and do a presentation to council. I feel like that presentation would be longer than 10 minutes. But if you guys are open to it, allow Mr. Morton to reach out to them, find out how long that presentation will look like and set a date for the future. They're interested in the compound and our surplus real estate. And what they are able to do is pretty cool with what they call special dirt. And obviously they're tied in with a lot of the aerospace and defense companies. So I think that's a huge economic opportunity for Palm Bay, and if you guys are open to it, I'd like to make that invitation.
Yeah, I'm definitely open, especially if it's bringing space.
Yeah.
We have space for space.
That's right. Furthermore, last week had the opportunity, week prior, had the opportunity to go to a municipal workshop hosted by Congressman Herodopoulos. A few other cities were invited: Melbourne, Titusville, Indian Harbor Beach, and Rockledge, and Palm Bay. So Mr. Morton and I attended that meeting. We're able to have just a great open dialogue conversation with the congressman about, what's issues that are affecting us collectively, what are the issues that are affecting, Palm Bay individually, and what are things that he can do to help. And did bring up the unfunded mandate, Mr. Batten, regarding the septic sewer conversion that the state of Florida has put on us and all cities alike. And so that's something that he's going to look into further. And also, in my time in Tallahassee, I did have conversations with Senator Mayfield and Representative Monique Miller and a few others about this unfunded mandate. And, at the end of the day, there's grants available for people to do septic to sewer conversion if there is a force main or a main in the area. But most of Palm Bay doesn't have mains, and so there's nowhere to connect a lateral to. So not only is it an impossible task because it physically can't be done, but even if funding were to exist right now in this moment, I don't know if there's enough material or manpower to get it done by 2030. But it brought some other ideas into my mind that I had some conversations with the city manager on and our utilities director, and it's a wild idea. It's probably not a great idea, but it's an idea nonetheless. And but I had the thought to just begin the conversation of what it would look like to sell our utilities to private enterprise. There's private companies out there that would come in and probably offer a free appraisal to our system, and just rough estimates based on the amount of users that we have and the assets we have. It could be worth $750 million, and private enterprise could come in. That money would go into the general fund, which could immediately pay for Babcock, Malabar, police headquarters, multiple fire stations, and then private enterprise can do what private enterprise does and expand utility services throughout the entire city. The deal structure would look like, placing someone like Gabriel or other director positions on a board of directors with the municipality and, doing what we can to control rates. But, this isn't an overnight solution, but I just wanted to bring this idea up to see if you guys have further appetite to explore this option.
So I've got Kenny Johnson that's wanting to weigh in on that right now. I would have.
Yes, Mayor, because I literally was talking to Mr. Morton about it this week as well. I literally brought it up at our briefing. But I would love for him to speak on some of the pros and cons that we discussed on it, because I'm with you on that. I was looking at how can we think outside of the box. Is it convenient? No, but I see the pros and also I see the cons with speaking with Mr. Morton, specifically when you think of monopolies like Florida Power and Light, who they control everything in the state of Florida pretty much, and they control the rates and they can raise them as they please. So, Mr. Morton, would you feel I'm good? So I'll give the green light that I'm good to explore this, but I would like for Mr. Morton kind of to dive in to our conversation of the pros and cons, if he could.
Mr. Morton?
So I've done this once before, a long time ago, in terms of, transitioning a utility to a private operator. Just a couple high-level things. This would be a long process. It would probably take, I would just guess, a year or two or longer. It's a successive, analysis. It's one-time money. So let's say we got to that hypothetical point where we sold the utility and we get the revenue. It's one-time revenue. And when that one-time revenue is gone, it's gone. So if we build infrastructure, there is no replacement funds to maintain it. Right now, the utility partners with the city, partners with the general fund, it partners with our residents, and there is a financial benefit to that. In past scenarios, I think there's less than 36 cities who have done it in the United States in the last 50 years. Some of them have taken them back. I'll just say that there are a lot of pros and cons. I don't know how helpful it is to go into them tonight. Challenges, to your point, on loss of revenue and rate control, rather than operating hopefully as an effective nonprofit, which in essence is what the city does. You've got a company that's responsible to shareholders and making a profit. And that is always factored into the rates. It's how we see it in FPL when they go to the utility commission every year and ask for 7%, 8%, whatever it is, and we wonder where that money goes. It's going overseas to shareholders, right? We know that. That's a fact. So if you guys want to have that conversation, I think you need to make a decision tonight, because now what we just did, frankly, is we just put 100 utility workers on uneasy footing, on difficulty enough to recruit. Are we serious about this? What does that mean? What's the timeline? Or are we just going to put this idea aside for now? And then again, a deep analysis would be required, probably with some consultation help into an appraisal and to get a ballpark value, but also an independent appraisal, and then a long public process to communicate rate structures and what does privatization mean? What does it mean to remove that from city services or the city's operations? So this is not just a 30-minute assessment that I'm doing justice, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone at the dais. This is a very big issue, and the ramifications of it start tonight now with the public conversation.
Yeah, and furthermore, regarding the employees, I mean, that would be a part of the negotiation. The employees would have to retain with the system, starting at the director level and all the way down to the lowest level employee. It's not to cause harm to the employees. It's to find value and benefit to the city to solve goals and issues that are going on citywide.
All right, sir. I've got Councilman Langevin and Councilman Hammer. Councilman Langevin, you're up first, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. From a general perspective, I think it's a good idea in the sense that, I'm very pro free market and we're trying to shake things up in the city. So I like to hear new ideas. However, I just don't think the timing is there right now. So I'm going to be a thumbs down tonight. We have a lot of issues that we're working on throughout the city. I think city leadership is pretty much pulled to their extent right now through the DOJ process and everything they're trying to do. And I just don't see this as another friction point that we need to add right this second in the city. Maybe in a year or so when when the leadership's really got established and they've gone through every single department and they've conducted this DOJ as we've given them and everything's looking good, it might be something we could come back and revisit, but I'm just not comfortable with it right now.
Thank you. Councilman Ham?
I as well am in support of hearing what we come up with. I am also in support of waiting till our DOJ is done to start this fact-finding mission. And I also think if this moves anywhere forward other than fact-finding, that this needs to be something we get input from the community on. This is something that's going to affect our city forever. And, where some of us don't have city water, there's a lot of people that do, and it's going to affect them a lot. And it's going to affect them living in Palm Bay. So this isn't really something that 5 people should make a decision on. I really don't think so. I think this is something that we need to get the community the facts and even put this on a ballot. This is huge. This is something that changes the structure of our city forever. And I think it needs to be taken very seriously. I think it's a great idea if the numbers look right. I do know it is extremely successful in other places around Florida, and I know being able to operate in the free market can actually make the prices on things go down. The things that we spend, we have to get through government-funded places or through piggybacks, through Sourcewell, through everything else, where if you're just a company, you can go out and try to make people give you a better price, where we can't. We can't go and negotiate with people and get things for cheaper, where a private company, they can. I mean, they can go and say, I'm going to buy 500 miles worth of pipe because I have my company in 6 different municipalities, so I can get pipe for cheaper. So I see how our prices, they can save money doing it privately. I get that, and I am excited to see what comes forward from that. But I really, really, really think we should get the community's input on this. Should it move forward from fact finding?
So here's my thought. I think Councilman Johnson just nailed it when he said FPL. We have no authority with the prices of FPL. Not even the Public Commission has authority, or if they do, it just doesn't seem like they do, because FPL just keeps continuing to go on. Could you just imagine one entity? And Mr. Morton said, yeah, we may get that lump sum, but once that money's gone, it's gone. And the reason the business would want to do this is to get their hands and claws in on it, and then we're subject to their prices on a continual basis. I do agree with the free market. I also believe, I'm not a libertarian, so I believe there's a role in government, right? And that's the needle that we thread. I'm with you, Councilman Langevin. I'm a thumbs down. This is a great idea. To be thinking outside the box, but I would be a thumbs down today because there's a few things that are going on. The uncertainty of the prices in the future. And I can tell you that if you want to get the community engaged in these chambers, let's start looking at renting out a bigger space, because I guarantee the community is going to come up and say, at least with the prices that we're paying now, we can come and beat you guys up on. We could come and we have a voice with you, is what I should say. We surrender that, they won't have a voice. And so I'm a big thumbs down on that. Unless we start looking at, we have everything else that we've accomplished over this year, and I think it's going to take more than just a year, Councilman Langevin, all due respect. I think the things are going, the wheels of government churn so slow. However, we are right on the cusp of getting things accomplished with our economic development, with our public safety, and commercials starting to come back in here, and people are starting to invest in our city, and the infrastructure, although we can't churn that thing overnight, we're making the right moves, and I have to commend and congratulate our staff. They're, whatever task we're giving them, they're doing it. So for us to kind of like shift that wheel, I think we're setting us up for failure and setting them up for failure in that now you got to focus down another range. And I wouldn't agree with that today. I wholeheartedly think that would really devastate the progress that we've made if we're going to go down a range of surrendering or selling our utilities department. So that's where I'm at, gentlemen. So right now, I don't know if we have consensus. I know boisterously. Councilman Hammer? I'd like to wait. You like to wait? So that's a thumbs down. We could just, okay. All right, so consensus-wise, we're not going down that range, Mr. Morton. Keep doing the outstanding job that you're doing right now. Does that conclude your reports?
It does. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, buddy. So now I'm up to my reports, and the very first thing I want to share is this is something that's been near and dear to my heart for a long time. And now the Space Coast chapter of the Military Order of Purple Hearts reached out to me, and just so that you know, there's a young man. Typically, there were older gentlemen that were part of this group. Now there's some young blood that wants to lead this local government, the Space Coast chapter of the Military Order of Purple Heart. For those of you that don't know what the Purple Heart is, it's an award that's given. It used to be the Medal of Honor back in the Civil War, right? And now it's given to wounded warriors, wounded individuals, and individuals that have gotten wounded in combat-related incidences. Anyway, they've approached the city. They've sent me an email. They would want to have this city be the first in our county to be a Purple Heart city. What does that mean? We just show a level of support. My thoughts are we can we're proud to support the Military Order of Purple Hearts. There's some signs that you probably are aware if you Google them. So I would want consensus from this council to see if we could go down that range. So I got consensus with that. So Mr. Morton, if you wouldn't mind, start going down that range. And then secondly, I wanted to share a few thoughts that have been on my mind here. The very first, Palm Bay PD reported or responded to a bank robbery yesterday evening. Did you know that? Yeah, a bank robbery. This was at the TD Bank on Babcock Street near Palm Bay Road. The officer initially responded to the bank for a holdup alarm at 16:57 hours. Shortly after being dispatched, the bank advised they were robbed and the suspect had a firearm. Although it was not seen, Corporal Rob Vickers, way to go, Corporal Vickers, observed the suspect walking in the plaza south of the bank, the old Babcock Plaza, if you know where that's at, next to Wings and Things. You know where I'm at, where we're at now, and where Little Caesars is located, and took the subject into custody at 1700 hours. So he survived for 3 minutes, guys. Suspect was identified as Wilbur Nieves. He entered the bank and handed a teller a note that he had a firearm and to give him $1,000. That's all he wanted. Suspect left his license on the counter when he left with the cash. Nieves was charged with grand theft and armed robbery. Suspect did not have a firearm. All cash that was stolen was recovered. So then we had another incident where there was a sexual deviant that would go from place to place, follow females, and do something that was out of context. A sexual demonstration that should not be done in public towards the women that he was following. And reportedly, this happened on more than one occasion. I'm proud to say that there was a press release with this, that our investigators used license plate readers and obtained and got the actual individual, the suspect, and he was placed into custody. Then I wanted to kind of like close out with these compound fires and what these men and women have done that serve and protect us. And I know that there have been some comments. Okay, the firefighters were doing their job, but why weren't the police navigating and doing traffic work? I'll tell you why. Because they were literally assisting in evacuating people from their homes that were in danger. They were out protecting lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to say that the men and women that protect the city of Palm Bay deserves not only your support, but a big pat in the back because they take it on the chin each and every day, protecting each and every one of us. And that concludes my report. Mr. Morton, your report?
Yes, thank you. So there's a legal notice in the Florida Today, and what's driving this is council's challenge to staff to do what we can to change our financial future, and to the old adage, I'll just use it, make growth pay for growth. So we have been collaborating with new and proposed developments located within the city limits that are around the St. John's Heritage Parkway interchange, which is the southernmost interchange to the city. So they're largely undeveloped lands that developers have acquired and there's the map, and are considering developing, or maybe some light development. And what we're trying to do is explore a fire protection non-ad valorem assessment program that would fund a portion of the city's fire department and fire operations. A fire assessment is a charge imposed against real property to pay for fire services provided by the local government. An assessment is a cost-effective and financially stable means of funding fire services and facilities because the revenues aren't going to fluctuate. And again, we're not asking for the existing residents of Palm Bay to fund the capital requirements for new development. Today, you will notice today it was in the paper, and for the next 3 consecutive Thursdays, the same notice will run in the Florida Today, culminating in a special City Council business meeting on February 27th at 6 p.m. At that public hearing, City Council will consider the adoption of a resolution, and that's all that meeting will accomplish, for us to inform Brevard County property appraiser and tax collector that the city may, so we're preserving an opportunity, to use a uniform method of collection for such assessments beginning in October 2026. If this notice of our intent to explore this on the 27th of this month is approved, that would launch us into a study that would be completed to determine the appropriate need, the appropriate methodology for assessment, and then several more public hearings would concur before any final adoption. So I just wanted to state that we had a very short window to move this out. We had, from time of all of our discussions and all the work we had to do to time to meet the statutory requirement and not lose our opportunity, we had about 6 days. So we went ahead and got this out and have started this public process.
Well, Mr. Morton, thank you so much for that. And first of all, I have to commend you on this thought process of you listening to everyone, not only that's on the dais, but our residents. So what we're looking at, and so I'd like for you to further expound on that, is this is new development paying for infrastructure.
In essence, yes, correct.
Okay. Would you want to elaborate a little more on that?
So we need to go through the methodology and the study, but we know that our fire department is resource challenged, and frankly, without, raising the millage again, which we've had the directive to do just the opposite. And again, the old adage that growth pays for growth, and in large part, they do pay for a lot of growth. But we also came to the table and asked them through several very candid discussions was, we don't really have the ability, we can't meet both challenges of saving our taxpayers' money, being better stewards, and then also trying to dip into a general fund that doesn't have that cash. The city's not interested in taking out long-term debt or financing. It's also not a great option to put our community in. And so we have asked these property owners, and many of them have said yes, they're coming to the table, that we were going to try to create a funding mechanism that would allow these new homeowners who have yet to move in, so they'd be fully aware before they even buy their homes and move in for the most part, to just pay for that true cost of providing capital infrastructure, fire stations, fire engines, potentially maybe some initial fire operations until taxes increase to support those costs. And again, just put those costs where the true nexus of impact belongs.
Copy that. I've got Deputy Mayor Jaffe that want to weigh in, and after him, Mike Hammer, Councilman Hammer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I had asked the city manager, there's other larger developments that are coming to the southeast section of the county that aren't ours. They're county projects, Sonterra, Rolling Meadows, and oftentimes the county may come to the city and say, hey, we can't service this for fire or police,
Right.
or, we need an interlocal agreement. And I've asked them to research if we get asked to provide services, part of the interlocal agreement is Sonterra and those folks would also have to pay the
Be
same,
part of that.
the same taxing district. Yeah, correct.
Copy
Otherwise,
that.
there would be no interlocal agreement and they wouldn't actually be able to develop their projects.
Copy that. Councilman Hammer?
Wrong button. First, I wanted to say thank you, Mr. Morton, for doing what 156,000 people have been asking for. My first question is, does this have a shelf life? So is this, what's the shelf life on this look like? Is this a 10-year fee, or what's the estimate for it?
We'll know when we get through the study and be able to validate, again, how much capital and if and what we could ask for ongoing operations as the true cost of those operations. And again, thank you to Deputy Mayor to his point of this interlocal concept of making sure this whole area gets incorporated. So that was actually a brilliant idea that we're also rolling into this study.
Also, if there's any kind of thing where this can be readdressed every 3 years or something to where it can be looked in to see if it's actually providing what it needs or if it needs to be more, needs to be less. Something saying we can address it every X amount of years, much like our impact fees is every 4 years. It would be nice to be able to have something in writing saying we can address it every so often, because that's something that's going to be able to tell us if this is working, if it's not, and if we need to readdress it, who can readdress it, and why.
Yes, sir, message received, and we'll incorporate that into our analysis.
Thank you, that's it.
That's it? Okay, Madam Smith. Oh, carry on, okay.
I do want to thank you. Someone else did tonight, but I'll tell you, I've been in local government for 27 years. As you all know, I have never, ever had the experience where I have met with our congressman by his request or graciousness more than 5 times already in 11 months. And just want to thank him. As Deputy Mayor mentioned, we were asked to come to a meeting, gave us an hour and a half of his time to listen and sincerely listen. I already got a letter back from him today, actually, on the feedback, and just really grateful that our congressman listens. He's open. He's met us here. He's met us in D.C., and just taken the time to hear our concerns and work on them. And it's just such an amazing thing that we have such access to our congressman. So I just want to publicly say how grateful I am to have such a strong representative and so far such a great partner that I've never experienced before in a federal representative. And it's worthy of noting because I think we all get frustrated at times with various elements of federal government. And Congressman Herodopoulos is definitely breaking that mold, in my opinion, and just been a phenomenal partner. Real quick, again, thank you to the firefighters tonight. I don't know if anyone's still here. Oh, we still have one of our chiefs. Thank you so much. Oh, look at that. And thank you so much for coming, and what a great opportunity it was tonight to recognize and thank them. And then lastly, I did attend SpaceCom for one day last week, was there. Miss Danielle Kratz was there all days, and what an absolutely phenomenal piece of work she did, but also what a great opportunity. We had some really great interactions. I think we created some new discussions, some new opportunities for partnership, and a potential hackathon with the United States Space Force to address Artemis II space challenges and cooperation with some education partners. Just some really exciting opportunities came out. So we continue also to keep working on those things. Appreciate the support and the ability that you let us go and keep advocating and trying to attract new business to the city, to create the exuberant tax base. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Smith? None to report?
Nothing further.
All right. This meeting's adjourned.